Edition of 207 with Julia Gagnon and Nate Haven. Julia, of course, fresh off her appearance on American Idol, and she's with us performing on Maine TV for the first time. Delighted to have you. Thank you so much for coming in.
And we know that America fell in love with you, Maine fell in love with you while you were performing. We just heard you talk about how you had to kind of undo some of the stuff that you learned when you were on stage. Were you nervous to be out there performing in front of everybody? What was that like?
I was so nervous. All of us were so nervous. I mean, it was something we learned like very quickly into the process is there's nothing to compare being on American Idol to. Like there was no amount of performances. It didn't matter how many followers you had. Like none of us knew what American Idol was. So we were all very, very nervous, but it was such a great experience.
Absolutely, and I think we have some video of you on stage performing that I'd love to bring up. Just hear some of the moments that you had. What song are you singing here? Do you remember?
Need a Favor, Jelly Roll by Jelly Roll. Yes. Yes. That was an awesome performance. I loved that one.
How much freedom did you have to choose the songs you wanted to sing?
As it went on more, I think, and that was probably partially my own doing. I started off with some really huge soul songs, which I love. I love that. Like, that's not to say that I don't. Oh, there's Over the Rainbow.
Yes.
That's not to say that I don't. It's just, I write folk music and I write kind of more roots soul music. So I started to pick more, yikes. I started to pick more songs that made me comfortable.
So when you're nervous on stage, how would that come out? Would you worry that your voice is going to quaver, going to crack a little bit? What was it that you'd be worried might happen when the nerves were really kind of tight?
So the biggest aspect for me that made me like really overthink was in-ears. So on the first few episodes you don't use in-ears, and we're all amateurs, so that's kind of what we're used to. But after Hawaii, they gift you these amazing custom in-ears that they fill your ear, and it's really amazing and generous of them. But none of us had ever used them before, so it was a whole new ball game trying to stay on pitch with those in, because you couldn't hear yourself. You could hear the music and you could hear yourself, but it was a completely different sensation, and that made me nervous because I couldn't tell if I was on pitch or not until I was watching it on TV.
Well, I would just like to pull up this performance if we could, where you're singing Whitney Houston, I believe, because there were no nerves that I saw in this. Girl, having a moment here, truly, and in that dress. I loved this performance. Did you love singing Whitney? Or was that nerve-wracking?
No, that was a lot of nerves to take on Whitney. That was scary. Actually, Abby chose that song for me. Abby, who won? Abby Carter, yeah. Yes.
Nate, how nervous were you watching Julia perform?
This one specifically, I was actually on a FaceTime with Ryan Seacrest backstage watching this one with him. So the nerves for that was completely different. But every other performance, honestly, I wasn't that nervous.
Okay.
I was there just enjoying the show, just listening to good music, listening to everybody perform their hearts out.
It's a fun concert.
When you're there in person, you forget that it's a competition.
You grew up in South Portland, you grew up in Cumberland. It was a long way from those two places.
Yes. I think we were the farthest. Yeah, we were the ones traveling from the furthest away. It was kind of a miracle that I had anybody there for me at the live shows, but I never had a live show. I never went through a live show without somebody there. Somebody always made it.
That's awesome. And we should point out too, you worked with a bunch of different coaches too. Can we please just pull up the photo of her with Gene Simmons specifically, please?
Jeez.
Okay. Why was he? I asked you, who is your favorite vocal coach? You said Gene Simmons from
Yes.
Kiss. Why?
Gene, man, so something, I don't know if they should, I haven't seen the show because I was living it, but I know they don't, we're with them for like an hour. So, and a lot of the vocal coaches don't necessarily focus on your vocal because they acknowledge, like right when we got in, they're like, oh, you can sing. Okay, that's not the issue. Let's focus on like what you can work on. And every time, and I knew it too, I needed to work on my confidence, my stage presence. And this was going to be a really big performance for me because I felt vulnerable in a tight red dress singing about a boy. It was like something that I really hadn't done ever, actually. So I loved him because he workshopped my confidence on and off stage. He talked to me about shaking off my nerves, even like in everyday life, understanding that even people like him get nervous and hide behind makeup or big boots, and like people do, like it doesn't matter how confident you think somebody is, they're all dealing with the same anxieties. So I really appreciated that lesson from him.
That's a great story. All right, you're going to perform original material for us. When we come back, a quick break here on 207. We'll return with Julia right after this.